Hello and welcome back to the channel. Glad to have you with us on this beautiful Friday afternoon. It's been a long time coming, but hopefully your deep desires for football to return will be fulfilled very soon, as the Premier League will be returning. In today's show, we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about some of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's comments as well in recent press conferences, and we'll be looking ahead to how Manchester United are able to set up and if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is ready, because I feel like the common line surrounding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's future at Manchester United is simple. There are no more excuses. He's talked the talk. Now he's got to walk the walk. So, gentlemen, how are you coping without football? How are you doing on this Friday afternoon?
I'm good. I'm very excited for football to be back. Obviously, United started training. And it just made me realize how much I've actually missed United and football in general, because even something as small as a training picture, Pogba doing some drills, Fred doing some drills, it makes me so happy. It's just like, it's amazing what football can do for me.
That's good.
Oh yeah, that is... I mean, the Bundesliga's been back for about a week now, so yeah, we've had some football, and I've enjoyed having it back. As much as it might not be the standard of the Premier League, but I've enjoyed it, and I'm excited to see the lads come back in training, and the best league in the world come back.
Yeah, the best league in the world, according to some, the most competitive league in the world, according to others. Some of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's comments and the prospects of the conclusion to this unique and strange season have arrived, I think, for a lot of us. And I don't know what you guys are expecting, but we're 1 point outside the top four. And as I said, this is a very unique situation. It's almost like a very short season. Everybody's had a long break. So it will be interesting to see what happens in the next few weeks and how Manchester United are able to push on in a short amount of time. What are you expecting at the end of the season, now that everybody's had a break, especially hearing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer come out and talk so positively, quotation marks? Where are you at with Manchester United?
Well, I'm expecting everyone in the Premier League to be rusty in general. Like I said, I think United are in the best position after the lockdown and this whole pandemic broke out. I think United are still in the best position because everyone will be back fit, and I think United will train hard, and I think everything is still happy in the camp. So I think motivation is there, determination is there. I think players are stuck down and realize that they've got work to do now. And I don't think we would see an amazing run of form as we would have if the league just continued as normal, but I do think we'll see a very energized and exciting Manchester United when it comes back.
Yeah. I think fitness will be the issue. And I think if we can get over that, I think we'll have a really, really good chance to make top four, because I think we have a much better squad than Tottenham, and Tottenham aren't even relevant. Really, they won't make it. We have a much better squad than Chelsea. I think Chelsea have more holes in their team, specifically in defense. And I think over a few run of games, one can say without fans, I think we stand a better chance to win more games over Chelsea, in my opinion.
Definitely. Tactically, how do you think Bruno and Pogba will get used? I know everybody thinks that the creativity of Bruno and the hard work and quality and class of Paul Pogba automatically means there'll be a star pairing, but we all know that football is not that simple, and you can't just put Messi and Ronaldo in the same team and expect to win a World Cup. It doesn't work that way. They have to work together. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, looking at his season since he's come to Manchester United, and even before that, if you look at his days at Molde and the other club he managed, I'm not sure, the club he got relegated at.
I think.
He primarily played a 4-2-3-1 formation. So a 4-2-3-1 is synonymous with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I think that, look, no matter what your opinions are of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his tactics, there are some positives, and the first of which being that we've seen this tactic work against the big teams. I think the difference between Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Louis van Gaal is, I've heard a lot of people saying Louis van Gaal was such a great coach since that Rooney thing came out. And I'm like, well, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's football, for me personally, is not that different from Louis van Gaal's football. Yes, Louis was trying to do something a bit different, and he held the ball a lot more. He wasn't looking to hit teams on the break. But both playing styles are boring. The difference is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's one is actually produced in some areas, whereas Louis van Gaal didn't. And that's a huge positive thing. So that's number one. Number two, I think ever since Bruno Fernandes came into the team, we've seen a very different side to this playing style. Before Bruno Fernandes got here, It was Manchester United sitting back, soaking up the pressure, and then playing a long ball to Dan James and hoping nobody catches him. Bruno comes into the team, and all of a sudden there's an extra element of creativity. And Manchester United went from the team that was winning 1-0, 2-0 from going on the break to actually playing some exciting football. Yeah, it's only for 20 minutes in the game, but at least now when Manchester United has the ball, we can look at it and be like, wow, we might actually score a creative and fun goal because we have Bruno. So where do you think Pogba's going to fit into this? Because a lot of people want to say that they'll play in advanced positions together, and we know that's not going to happen. Realistically, what do you think is going to happen with Pogba? And
Well, obviously, ideally, it would be the 4-3-3 with Bruno and Pogba as the more attacking midfielders. But if Oli does keep the two holding, realistically, I think Pogba should definitely play in there, and I think Oli would want to play him in the holding role. I don't think we'd put Bruno or anyone else as the second holding partner. But, this is a big problem because realistically, if I'm Oli and then you're going to drop someone like Fred or you're going to drop a Matic, or even now what happens with McTominay, all the work that these guys have been done while Pogba has been injured, you're sitting with the problem. You don't want to just drop them for Pogba because of Paul Pogba's sake. Obviously, if it was me, I would do it. But Ollie's got a big decisions to make, and it just should be whether or not Ollie sees fit if Pogba gets straight into the team, or does he have to work his way into it.
I think that's a good thing. It will show whether or not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is ruthless enough for this job. I think it's a good thing. We will see some big decisions made, and maybe the next few weeks is not a very good indicator. I wish we had a whole season to see this play out rather than just a few games in quarantine. But nevertheless, I think, Pogba I think Pogba has to play if we're going to play a defensive formation like the 4-2-3-1, mainly because what people don't realize is playing Pogba in the 6 is not the same as playing Matic in the 6. Pogba's still Pogba. He doesn't lose his ability to pass, dribble, move the ball, and be an intelligent footballer just because he's playing deep. I think this could work because, yes, when Paul Pogba played deep all those years ago under Mourinho and, at the beginning of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's spell, it wasn't pretty. But it might start to look pretty when the guy he's passing the ball to isn't someone doing a celebration who has 1 million Instagram followers that makes me cringe every time I watch it. It's someone who actually is good at what they do and deserves to be in that position, and that's Bruno Fernandes. He ain't playing with Lingard, so maybe it could work. What are your thoughts, Reto?
Yeah, I think we all know what the fans want, but I think you're right. We won't get that. I think it will be the 4-2-3-1. And, I think it can work because at the start of the season, yes, defensively he was quite poor because I remember the game against Crystal Palace. There was 10 minutes left and he lost the ball turnover. They scored and they won 2-1, and that was horrible. So it showed Pogba's defensive frailties. But in that position, he can work as the quarterback, as that player who distributes those balls, as the box-to-box midfielder who, because of the standard of the quality player he is, can push forward and still be third to goal. So I think it can work in that way with Bruno in the 10. And I think because they're such two quality players, I think it won't be an issue. I think the big issue is who plays next to Pogba. I think that's very important. Yeah. And I don't know if Fred can do that. I think most of the fan base wants it to be Fred. I don't think so. I think it has to be either McTominay or Matic.
Yeah, because Fred doesn't have the defensive abilities to cover up for Pogba's defensive frailties, as you put it. But I think there's another issue that everybody's ignoring. And yes, Bruno Fernandes has said what a great player Paul Pogba is. We know this, but sometimes egos can clash. Sometimes egos can clash. Sometimes when you have two players who want to be the center of attention in a football team, whether it be consciously or subconsciously, it can cause a problem. And I worry about the chemistry between these two players because, firstly, I've never seen them play together. But secondly, how, realistically, if Pogba was to stay at Manchester United, I just wonder if, and I'm not saying Pogba won't mind being in Bruno's shadow or anything like that, but I'm worried about whether or not these two will actually complement each other that well and work in terms of chemistry. Because I think the big problem with Bruno when he first came to Manchester United is that some people were worried that teams were just going to find us out, just mark Bruno, and all of a sudden our counter-attack doesn't work. Whereas if you have Bruno and Pogba and the chemistry actually works, they can feed off each other. But my worry is, what if they don't? Then what do you do? What do you do as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? I don't know if that's even a valid concern because everybody seems set.
I guess
into the sunset together.
Ideally and logically. Yeah,
Yeah, you can go first.
I was going to say, ideally and logically, you know, like I said, the best fit for them to be and get the chemistry flowing would be if they could both play a bit advanced and have one holding. But like, you know, I think if there was to be a clash and there was only one of them to play in that position, then, you know, again, it's another big question for Oli. It's like, you know, what's he going to do as a Manchester United manager? You got two big names, you know, names that you don't think both should just start. They should both start. But what do you do as a manager now? Because obviously you can't have that in the formation you want, or if you want both of them to be in that one center formation. You got a big decision to make as a manager. And, you know, as fans, it's nice to think that, you know, yeah, of course, everything will be perfect. These guys will just light it up together. But like you said, you know, if it doesn't happen, I don't know. I'd just be very scared to, you know, and I don't want to think like that. But if it was to happen, I think whoever deserves to be in the position should get the position, and then he should stick with the other two who've earned the
You never
position.
know. 6 months from now, we're not winning games. The team's doing badly. We're in 7th place for whatever reason. Pogba's not feeling the formation. He feels like he should be playing where Bruno should be playing. You know, that can happen. He might start hating his role playing in a deep position, you know, as you'd expect. So that can happen. But, you know, who knows? Hopefully it doesn't come.
It can, but I think these are, and I'll use the word, I think these are two world-class players. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should definitely try it. If Pogba, and I'm sorry to highlight Pogba, but if Pogba starts feeling iffy about the position, he should get dropped. Like, there shouldn't be the whole thing, he's a world-class player and he can't get dropped. No. But I do think they should try play them together. They say world-class players can always play together, so we'll see. I think it'll work out.
Yeah, well, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the gaffer, has some difficult decisions to make. Speaking of the gaffer, this is a quote from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that's been floating around social media. I'll read it word for word. I'd rather have a hole in the team than an asshole in the team. Personality is so important. We are a team in a team environment. You want the players to have a bit of ego, but also and a bit of edge, but also they have to be able to adapt. Should I do that in Oli accent? I think it'll bring it to life more. Yeah, let's try the Oli accent, guys. Let's try my best impression of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'd rather have a hole in the team than an arsehole. Personality is so important, and we're a team, you know, in a team environment. And the players, you want the players to have a bit of ego and a bit of edge, but they have to be able to adapt. That's what Man United is about, ain't it? That was terrible. Hey. But anyways, what do you think?
You forgot to use those lads. No, the lads.
Oh, yeah,
you never forget that one.
But yeah,
I kind of want to go first on this, on my own question. But
go first. I'll go second. Sure.
My initial... actually, no, not my initial reaction. The initial reaction I think a lot of United fans had to this, and I wish I had a webcam because it would be easier to emphasize my point, but I'm gonna give it a go. My initial reaction, or what I imagine the United fan, is to be holding their crest and their badge and going, yeah, that's my manager, yeah, and I'm just like, well, that's my manager too, but what are you on about, mate? Because I've watched teams that don't get along win 3 Champions Leagues in a row. I've heard of the most arsehole personalities, but on the field, they still look past their differences and get on. And I think the passion merchants will hold their crest and be like, yeah, that's what it's about. You'd rather have a hole in the team than an arsehole. Yeah, we don't care for crap as long as the players play for the badge. And I'm like, nah, that's not going to cut it for me. I'm sorry. I respect what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is saying, but as Mark Obridge said, and I agree 100%, he's talked the talk. He has to walk the walk now. Like, I don't care if the players... Like, I do care that players are playing for the badge, but I care more about winning. And I would rather Pogba stayed in a toxic environment and we actually won things than get rid of... And I don't think he was talking about Pogba. He might have been talking about Sanchez. But anyways, I'd rather whoever he was talking about stayed at the club if they were going to help us on the field, rather than have a hole in the team, if that makes sense. Because I don't see the point of all holding hands and running into the sunset when we're still fourth. I mean, when we're still fifth. Yeah. I just... That's my 2 cents.
When I heard it, I was just thinking, you know, who is he referring to? And I know everyone would probably say Paul Pogba realistically, but I don't think it's Paul Pogba. Like, you know, I think Oli has spoken so highly. Yeah, I think Oli has also just spoken so highly of Paul Pogba, how important Paul Pogba is to United, how much he does for the club, how much, you know, he helps other players, how important he is. I think Oli and the players do like Paul Pogba, and I don't think it would be him. I think actually, realistically, it could be Sanchez. or maybe heat with the other player. Maybe, who knows, it could be. Could have been a Smalling. It could be anyone else in the team. It could be someone at the club who never gets. It could be Lingard even, for all I know.
I really think it's somebody who's on the way out, 100%, and I don't think that's Pogba, simply because nobody's going to buy him, considering where we are in the world at the moment. Nobody can afford him. I think he might have been talking about Sanchez, which is, if he is talking about Sanchez, this guy's a walking paradox, because he said Sanchez is going to come back and prove everyone wrong last summer.
Yeah, exactly.
He said Gomez and those guys already didn't give them a chance. He said we play fast attacking fluid football, we sit and we only see 20 minutes of Rashford dashing down the left wing. So this guy is a walking paradox if he is talking about Sanchez. But anyways.
Yeah, it's just like, I think whoever he is talking about, though, is definitely on his way out. But he's, I wouldn't think Oli would think this deep, but if he meant like a hole in the team, I would think it would be quite a big player that leaves a hole. But, Oli doesn't think that deep, and he was just saying it in the moment. But yeah, I would just want to know who he's talking about.
He was just being a passion merchant and trying to be motivation.
Yeah, I think he's speaking of a specific player, probably is Sanchez. But I think that comment represents Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's reign at Manchester United, to be honest. I think when you see him on the sidelines, it doesn't seem like the hard personality. But I feel like he's been that guy who's put the club first and has done what needs to be done for this club to move forward. Over the past few years, we've brought in big signings, and we've clearly shown that we can't manage big signings, and it hasn't worked out. What this guy's brought in is completely different, and we went a different route. We went the route of players playing for the badge, and bringing players who want to be at Manchester United. And I think that's the way we need to go to fix this club, because of the structural issues that we have. So in that sense, I like the comment.
I do like the comment as well in that sense, but I think I would sort of not disagree. I agree with what you're saying 100%, but I think there's more to it. I think if you look at Manchester United over the years, every player that has come to Manchester United, not every player, I'm generalizing here. Most of the players growing up, if you grew up and you watched Manchester United during the Fergie era and you supported them, then there's some truth to the statement that I'm about to make. Every player that came to Manchester United and the teams that were successful at Manchester United were filled with a combination of A, world-class talent at times, but B, and more importantly, players who were really good but were looking for a step up from a big club. They came from smaller clubs where they wanted to make a name for themselves, and Manchester United gave them that opportunity. There's a long list of players like that. And if you want to look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's reign, Bruno's the perfect example. Here's a guy from Sporting, Portuguese league. People don't really watch that league. People don't really know who Bruno Fernandes is. He's looking to make a name for himself. Where do you go to make a name for yourself? The Theatre of Dreams. Harry Maguire, class player. He didn't need to prove anything. He just needed an opportunity at a big club. Where did he go? Manchester United. Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Some people say he's been this good for a long time. He just hasn't had the magnifying glass on him. And I would agree, to be honest, because I don't think he suddenly transformed into a monster right back underneath Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He must have had this talent when he was at Crystal Palace. Where did he go? He stepped up. He came to Manchester United. Even Dan James. Dan James is not quite the class yet, and he's not a top-class player, but he was an established player at Swansea City looking to make a break at a bigger club. And all the old signings we used to make, Cristiano Ronaldo came from Sporting. Nani came from Sporting. So my point is, yes, it is important to have people who play for the badge, but I think what's more important when it comes to making the right signings is finding a balance of top-class players who are looking to make a breakthrough, who are hungry to win trophies, not just buying big players for the sake of buying big players like the Galactico mentality, buying players who've already done all that. No, we Manchester United, for me, and why I like Manchester United is because we build careers. Players come to Old Trafford and they build their career here. Some of them stay for seasons, some of them leave after 3. But hey, that's the common theme I've noticed. Even Rio Ferdinand, when he came, he wanted to win stuff, and then luckily he stayed, because that's where playing for the badge comes in. So I really don't think I need to make any more examples. There's so many. There's so many. But you're not wrong.
There are players who were willing to come play and wanted to play for Manchester United. Unlike Arabia, which Mark made an example with, who has been at PSG, at Juventus, and coming to Manchester United was really not a step down, but like he's really been at a club of that caliber. So I think it kind of relates to what he was saying.
definitely. I think I cut off there for some reason. I'm not sure. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, we can hear you still. We can still hear you.
Okay, cool. No, yeah, I agree. And Rabiot's a good example, but that's exactly what I'm saying. We shouldn't get players who are already at big clubs already. We should get players who are looking to step up, who want to play for Manchester United, A, and B, want to make a career for themselves, and they're hungry. We shouldn't. I really didn't like that period under Van Gaal and under Mourinho where we were just buying big names, like where we were buying has-beens. Like, I don't want has-beens. I want people who want to become something coming to Old Trafford, and that's why I love.
So you guys gotta cut for a second.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think Shoni could hear me, so.
Yeah, I could hear everyone. It was just Malota.
Okay. I'll repeat myself just for Malota. Basically, what I was saying is you're not wrong, and Rabiot's a good example, but we shouldn't buy players like Rabiot or any other players, even players who are better than Rabiot. I don't think we should be buying players who play at big clubs already. We should be buying players who are looking to step up. That's the kind of story I enjoy personally. So kind of like Bruno Fernandes. That's why I like him so much. He came from a very small club. He's coming to step up. That's the narrative I like as a United fan. But look, at the end of the day, as long as we're winning, I really couldn't care less. You know, if we bought 11 Paul Pogbas and we started winning stuff, cool beans, bro.
I just don't think we're good enough structure to do that. We have the money to not the structure.
Yeah, it doesn't work. The Galactico philosophy is not going to work to fix Manchester United unless we want to pull a Man City and get banned 10 years from now. But anyways, tactically, how far do you think Manchester United are from the team they need to be? Because we've spoken a lot about the quality of players at Manchester United, right? But over the next few weeks, I don't think that's going to matter, because I think with the return of Paul Pogba and Marcus Rashford, specifically in the next few weeks, we have what it takes to make top four. There's no excuse now. How far do you think Manchester United are under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer from building tactically and becoming a force to reckon with, just based on tactics?
I'd say Oli is 60% there. I think he needs a good assistant coach and maybe a few more coaches around him, you know, because he's still inexperienced. So I do think he does need a good assistant coach. And I think that he needs to use all this firepower that's coming back to him that he didn't have previously earlier on in the season, such as Bruno back, Pogba fit, Rashford, if Sancho comes. And he needs to use all of those resources, because no other manager before post Alex really had this sort of talent who wanted to be here. Yeah, we had Galacticos, but they want to be here. They're working and they are showing their quality play. So if he does use that, I think he needs to take full advantage of that.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think he needs a plan B. I don't know if Oli, like for me, I haven't really seen a plan B from Oli. So I would like a better plan B.
You know,
I don't know if I haven't seen a plan B at all. That's why I
said I wanted a plan B. He had a plan B, but I want a better plan B. Like if 5 at the back is plan B, I would like a better plan B.
I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the type of manager to play a very a very notable style, if you want to call it that, like the position style or the intense style on the club.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how to gauge it. I think really the problem has been players. In terms of plan B, I think if we're versing a smaller team and we have to go with them, if we have the players, it works. It works really. It's similar to, I think, Madrid. Madrid under Zidane against teams like Barca played on the counter. And that's been the way they go. But against smaller teams, they haven't really had a defined playing style. It's like really letting the players express themselves. And I think Solskjaer is that type of manager. And I think he's come pretty far with the tactics. I think if he gets the right players, I think he's something good to build on. I wouldn't say 60%. I'd say more like 80%. Really.
Look, I don't know how to gauge a percentage. Right, I don't know how to gauge a percentage, because I believe football is a results game, and I believe, look, if you don't get the results, then you're not close. If you do get the results and the evidence is there to back it up, then you're close, and it's as simple as that. I know there's grey areas, but it's hard to measure those grey areas, because look at what happened under Van Gaal. People don't know if Van Gaal was a really good coach or not because there's no proof of it. And it's easy to write Van Gaal off because you could say the football was terrible, but then someone could easily argue that he didn't have the right players, and then it just becomes a whole can of worms, and we'll be here till tomorrow morning debating on whether or not Van Gaal was a good coach because Rooney learned so much under him. But you're not gonna win with that argument. And I think with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, look, there's some really good points that you guys both made, and I think the idea of not having a defined playing style, it's not anything new. Sir Alex Ferguson didn't have a defined playing style, not really. He played with width. He played fast attacking fluid football, yes. But when you watch Manchester United, there wasn't a specific rhythm or pattern of play. It was just Beckham down the wing, whack it in. Van Persie, Flying Dutchman, you know. Obviously, there's a lot more layers to it, but Fergie played counter-attacking football in those European nights when it was hard, and he closed out the results when he needed to. Against small teams, when you have the players that Fergie had, you're going to dominate if you know what you're doing anyways. So I think that's kind of irrelevant. I mean, look at the way we played against Norwich. There was no defined playing style, but we beat them 4-0. Why? Because players were expressing themselves. There was nothing planned about Matt's cross to Rashford. That was just pure talent and class. So, you know, you can't tell me they worked on that in the training ground and they specifically trained for that outcome in all 4 goals. Like, you know, So with regards to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, look, I'm not too bothered about if he gets a defined playing style or not. What I am worried about is just the quality of football and how often we're going to be entertained as Manchester United fans, right? Since Bruno has come, I have seen a drastic improvement in Manchester United's play. In the Chelsea game, I think, even though I don't agree with the formation, I really liked what we did in the Chelsea game because there was a lot of width in that game. And that's something that I think I praise Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot for. He plays with a lot of width and people sleep on him. Like, not a lot of managers play with width, y'all. And I think I'm okay with not playing possession football. I'm okay with playing counter-attacking football if I see Martial flying in the air and headering the ball every now and then. Like, I think I'm okay with that. It's just a question of whether or not we can be consistent with this playing style. That's the only thing I'm worried about. Because you look at Liverpool, you look at City, and yeah, their playing style is fun to watch, but also they dominate games. That's what big clubs do. They dominate games. And with Manchester United, I don't want to be sitting here feeling like Everton might still win unless Martial gets a lucky break. Or Everton might still win, you know, because we're just sitting off, soaking up pressure. I want to see us play and dominate in a way. And I haven't seen enough consistency.
Yeah, that's the only place where I still worry about Ole. I'm not saying he can't do it, but I'm just saying at the moment I don't think he's got the ability to do it. And that's why I think if he had a great assistant coach, it could help him a lot.
If there's one thing they need to work on is the movement of the ball. And I think having lesser players does affect that, but we do take too many touches on the ball. And that's one area we need to fix, especially against teams that are sitting back and we have to take charge. And that's a pretty important aspect in terms of dominating games.
Van Gaal.
Yeah.
That was the
Van Gaal
sideways pass. Yeah, like, you see, so that's what it comes down to, because we could sit here a year from now and say, you'd get people saying Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is just not good enough, and then you might get the United fan who says, no, his tactic could work, we just need creativity. And that's going to sound very reminiscent of the Van Gaal era, because people who are pro Van Gaal said the exact same thing people will say about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He didn't have the right players, that's why we were sideways passing. If we just had more creative players, Van Gaal's playing style would have been brilliant. We held the ball for so long, all we needed to do was score. And it's like, yeah, but you didn't. So, you know, you're going to sound like you have a bad case of the what ifs, you know. You know, then wait if I'm always talking about what ifs. What if this? Yeah. Jose was just bad. Jose was just bad because at least the nice thing about Mourinho is he got results and he got trophies. But Jose was just bad because he played pragmatic football and didn't hide it. Like, we know Jose didn't care about the fans and what the
I think
fans
creativity was a big issue as well under Jose. Like, and there's a point it looked like it was working, but there was a point where it got really dark.
It is.
Like, oh,
you could say creativity is an issue.
Right. I remember our game against West Ham and we played right mid. That was like the end of the barrel, really.
Yeah, you could say Mourinho had a problem with creativity, and I wouldn't argue with you. Like, Mourinho could have definitely used more creativity, but I don't think that would have changed his playing style that much, because the problem with Mourinho's pragmatic football didn't start at United. Mourinho's been playing pragmatic football since Mourinho became a manager. You know, even at Chelsea when he won the title, you know, it's great to win a title, but when you're playing pragmatic football and you're not winning a title, then it becomes a problem for people. And actually, even some Chelsea fans hated Mourinho, even after he won a title, because of the football. So, you know, it comes down to the person and what you want. But I think Mourinho plays pragmatic football, and that's not a secret.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I don't want us to move into Mourinho too much, but then under Chelsea, especially in that second last season, I loved it. And I think more creative players helps because you'll park the bus. And when you do get a chance to break, having better players helps because there's a better chance for you to score. And he had Chelsea. Fabregas, Oscar, he had all this creativity, Hazard, and he just didn't have that at United.
Yeah, obviously. It's the same with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Having Bruno in a counter-attack helps. It helps you to go 9 games unbeaten as opposed to not having Bruno on the counter and relying on Lingard to distribute the ball. Yeah. Obviously, creativity is going to help a lot, and I think that's a very key part, and that's why I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's playing style could work. I'm just worried about the entertainment factor because not everybody likes pragmatic football. I don't really have a specific style of football that I like, but even as a person who doesn't mind watching different kinds of football, I find some United games very boring, and it's not because of I don't know how to describe it, but it's because I don't like watching my team not have the ball. That's what it comes down to. If I'm watching a neutral game of pragmatic football, that's fine. I don't mind watching a chess game because I do consider myself a purist in that sense. But when it's my team not having the ball and my team against the ropes, that's when it becomes a problem. And that's when I'm like, why is Watford dominating us? Can we not hold the ball and play football against Watford? That's when it becomes a problem for me.
Yeah.
I
feel like pragmatic football is boring, to be honest. Because I think if you do it the right way, it can be very entertaining. I mean, look at Atletico Madrid. Who doesn't love watching Atletico Madrid and what they do?
I don't.
You gotta have a player who can hold up. You gotta have that width. You know, if you did it properly on the counter, it could look very entertaining.
Yeah, it could, but I don't want my team to play like that. Like, I don't want my team. If it's Atletico Madrid in the Champions League final, cool. It's amazing. They defended for 90 minutes and then they broke and stole the champion. That's dope. But I don't want my team to play like that because I want my team to dominate the game. I want my team to be, and I hate to say this, I want my team to be like City and Liverpool. I want to watch my team dominate other teams, not just with the scoreline, but with the football. And I'm not saying you should play tiki-taka football. No, I just mean we need to be in the game more. I don't want to only, here's what I don't want. I don't want to sit and wait 15 minutes between every attack to see Bruno on the ball. That's the thing, So, I don't know. It's so weird to explain. Like, if Atletico Madrid is doing it, fine, but not United. And that might sound selfish, but I've realized that about myself in my time watching United. When my team plays that kind of football, then it becomes a problem. And I hope and pray that no matter what, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, no matter what playing style he picks, if he at least doesn't leave this club firstly that he leaves this club in a good place if he does get sacked. But let's just say in a miracle world where he does go on to win stuff, that would sweeten the blow a little bit. Like if we played pragmatic football and we still won stuff, I'd be like, alright, cool. Like I can't complain,
Yeah.
Alright,
sweet.
If we do get Sancho next year, I think there's the potential of us playing really pretty football. I can see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer investing a lot in wing play because that's what he grew up with. And I think Monday nights under the lights at Old Trafford will be very entertaining next season.
It will, hopefully. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't want to look too far ahead into the future. There's so much possibilities with United, but we can't forget what's happened this season. We can't forget the flip-flop results. We can't forget the loss to Arsenal. We just can't forget. It's good to be optimistic, but not delusional. And I just think with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the next few weeks is the test. This is where we'll see what he's about because he's 1 point, if I'm not mistaken, away from top 4. This is an opportunity for him to get top 4 and just close it out, or if not, at the very least, show us some progress and what he's been working on in the last few weeks. Like this is the time for me. There's no more excuses because if we go the next however many games are left in the season and don't do well, and there's no clear reason, because if the clear reason is fitness, I'll be like, all right, cool, fitness, whatever, everyone's rusty, cool. But if it's because of football, I'll have serious question marks about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't know about you guys, but I will.
Can I ask a question in regards to that? With the football coming back, is Poch back in the picture?
No, I don't think so.
I think Poch is. I think. I don't know.
I think
unless Oli
this
bottles
pandemic
it quick fast.
has saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That's crazy. Yeah, Shoni's right. Unless Ole Gunnar Solskjaer bottles every game, which I don't think he'll do. And by bottle, I don't mean play horrible football and lose a few. I mean bottle, like lose badly. and just go on a losing streak, I think Poch is out of the picture completely.
Which is sad.
Let's just say on 3 games, the next 3 games, we don't make top 4. We finish 6th even. Does he stay in the post?
We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see.
But
we'll
you know my answer.
Because yeah, we all know Shoni doesn't, prefers Poch, but we'll have to wait and see because there's a few things with Pochettino that have changed. First of all, there's been all this murmur about him going to Newcastle, which I still think is a bit unrealistic, but things have changed. The pandemic will have slowed things down, so to fire someone, especially after what's happened now, is very awkward. I think Manchester United's links to Grealish, Sancho, their investment in Bruno Fernandes, Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, and Dan James show a commitment to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I just think, again, if we fire Ole Gunnar Solskjaer based on a 3-week period after a pandemic when he was in the next round of the Europa League, he was still in the FA Cup, he still had so much to play for. Again, it's just such an immature decision. It's such an immature decision, yeah. So I think you just have to wait and see how things play out. If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer loses badly, like 4 or 5-0, and goes on the worst run we've seen, the worst 9-game run or however many games left in the season, then yeah, that's the only scenario I see him getting fired. But otherwise, no. Like, I just don't see it happening. It wouldn't make sense to me why you would do that as a board.
Yeah.
And also what I would add to that is the scary thing about if someone like Poch comes, Poch doesn't play with that much width. So let's say we buy Sancho. Cool. We have Rashford. Cool. We have Dan James. Cool. We have Greenwood who can play in all 3 positions and is versatile. Cool. We have Martial. Cool. We have Bruno, who's an exciting signing now, and he's learning how to play Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's system, and he's really showing the light of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's system. Cool. You have Pogba, who's iffy. You don't know if he's going, but like nobody can afford him, so he's staying. Cool. And then Poch comes, and suddenly the positive vibes that have led to us, all the positive things this season, just go away. And it's another reset. And then what if he doesn't like Rashford, or he doesn't like Sancho, or, for whatever reason, he decides Martial isn't the striker he wants, and, he made it to a Champions League final with Kane, so that's who he wants playing as number 9. And then, I feel like Poch wouldn't like United the way it is right now. I think he's tried to change things. Because based on the way he played at Tottenham, yeah, I don't know if everybody would have a place in the team. I'm not saying Poch wouldn't succeed. I'm just saying I don't think he would like the way we're currently set up. And what that means is we're going to have to change everything around. And I think Poch is capable of changing things around and getting this team to work in a system that he wants to work in, but that's going to take more time. And we're going to be sat here again for another first season going, we'll give him till next season. It will be a better reflection when he gets the players he wants. Yeah, you can see Rashford's not used to the system. Under Oli, he was expressing himself, and now he's playing in a system that doesn't even have that much width. I don't even know what the formation was that he played at Spurs. But I don't know if it was a 4-2-3 because some people say it was a 4-2-2. There's a lot of debate about what Pochettino played at Spurs.
Yeah, true. He would
a lot of people say it was a 4-2-2
at times, but then the idea that he never played with, like, people push it way too much. It's not that true.
Okay, it's not that he never played with width. It's impossible to never play with width on a football pitch because you're going to have 2 wide players at some point chilling outside the box and they're going to receive the ball. But the idea behind what Pochettino not playing with width is, it's not the Manchester United way. Manchester United played with width wide because they whipped in balls from the side. Antonio Valencia running down the right wing with the tucked shirt, whipping it in. Beckham, the number 7, the trademark cross with the arm out. Poch doesn't do that. And I'm not saying Manchester United fans wouldn't like that, or I don't like that. What I'm saying is it's going to take time to adjust to his system, and we're going to have to sit here again and sit with anxiety on a Thursday evening and say, okay, Poch, you have to turn a corner now. I don't want that. I don't want that because I don't think he's going to come here and hit the ground running. I think that's naive. He's not just going to come here and win trophies. It's going to take time to build something. And I don't want to be sat here for another season going, is Poch the right man for the job? ? Well, I think we should wait till the summer. I don't want to do that again. I think I want to finish the project with Oli.
There'll definitely be a dip because we're getting a new manager. And then, like, if I can just give the tactical aspect to Poch's playing style, it's more he knows how to penetrate through the middle. He's very good at it. He's like Klopp. Klopp has this ability of getting Firmino, Salah, and Mane all narrow, and getting Trent and Robertson to also come and help with. That's what Poch
Can I query your point?
Yeah.
How long did it take Klopp to build that squad to play like that? Because Liverpool weren't penetrating in the beginning. They weren't penetrating through teams in Klopp's first season the way they are now. And you make a very valid point. I'm not denying that Poch's tactics won't work at Manchester United. I'm saying with the current players at Manchester United, it will take him time to adjust because Bruno, Pogba, fine, world-class players, whatever. Lingard, Pereira, Gomez, Chong, Fred, Matic, McTominay. Can those guys penetrate Man City through the middle? Be honest now. Can those guys, do they have the skills and the football IQ to penetrate teams through the middle?
No, what I'm saying, I'm not disagreeing with you whatsoever. You are 100% right. Only point I'm making is that I think compared to Van Gaal, Moyes, Mourinho, he's inheriting the best squad out of all of them. So
that's true. That's true.
If there were potential to him to make it, I think he has the most potential, and because of the coaches. And if you want me to answer the question of players, I think in terms of the first team, maybe not the base players, that is a bit of a question. In terms of the first team, I think we do have the quality to play under Pogba, Bruno, and maybe replace the 6. But I do think Pogba, Bruno are made to play.
But Pogba's going to be in the recovery room not long from now, So I just think again, and I'm not saying this to create an argument. I'm just really expressing how frustrated I am at the idea of getting a new manager. I don't want to be sat here again talking about when will Pogba come back and when will we be able to penetrate teams to the middle because Lingard is not as good as Pogba and Bruno's struggling. That thought just gives me anxiety. I want to go crawl up in a dark room thinking about, I don't want to be sitting here waiting for Pogba to come back so that our team can play through the middle because Fred just isn't good enough on the ball. Matic is injured for whatever reason. McTominay still needs to learn. And Lingard's Lingard, Pereira's Pereira, and Bruno's doing all the work by himself. And eventually teams will find out Bruno and will start to mark him. So I don't know. And look, would Poch 100% play that? We don't know. We don't know. Unless he came to United. We don't know how Poch would play. We're just going off of what happened at Spurs. So, I don't know. I can't deal with it, man. I can't deal with it, man. We need to see out this Oli project before I can be open to a new manager.
Yeah, I think what we can definitely agree on is that Solskjaer staying works best for everyone, really.
Yeah, some United fans disagree. I had a guy on Instagram comment on one of my posts and said he still wants Poch to come in, and he's not convinced Ollie's the guy. So, people will have their opinions. Johnny still wants Poch, so you can't do anything about that. But yeah, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer staying at United is the best possible scenario. Maybe not for the Poch inners, but for the long-term future it is, because even if he doesn't win trophies, he will leave the team with a very definitive playing style. Maybe not a philosophy or a visible playing style, but there will be a system in place. Like, this is what Rashford's job is, this is what Bruno's job is, this is what Pogba's job is, this is what Wan-Bissaka's job is. He will leave the team with something, and in a place with structure.
We can see a visible goal. With Poch, it's the idea again that we're in love with, but then you don't really know if it's going to work, as you've alluded to.
So, I can't. And it's not just with Poch, by the way. I've got nothing against Pochettino specifically. The only thing I have against Pochettino is that he hasn't won trophies, and I don't like how people seem to overrate him. But at the same time, most managers haven't won trophies, so I can't hold that over Poch's head. He hasn't had the opportunity at a big club, and I recognize that. So I'm not taking shots at him. I'm just saying that, I don't. There's very few managers that could come to Manchester United tomorrow and put a smile on my face and make me feel like, okay, I'm down for this project. I'm going to be enthusiastic because, I can't do it. I can't be sitting here making another video. Is this guy the right guy? Question mark. It just can't. But anyways, one last point before the show ends. I think we did talk about this earlier, but not in completion. What do you guys think of what Wayne Rooney said about Van Gaal, if you read the stuff?
I actually haven't heard. Can you please...
Okay, so I don't know the word-for-word quote, but essentially Wayne Rooney said we should have kept Van Gaal, and Van Gaal was the coach he learned the most under. So Wayne Rooney thinks that we unfairly sacked Van Gaal. And I don't know where to go with this because it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, there's so many angles you can argue whether Van Gaal was a good coach or not, and I think it's a silly argument because football's a results game. How can you prove someone is a good manager if they don't have the results? You know what I mean? Yep. So I'm not going to sit here and argue that Van Gaal was a good manager, and I'm not going to take Rooney's word for it, because I don't think if Rooney says, this, I learned the most under this guy, therefore, you know, and because Wayne Rooney's saying it, therefore it's true. Like, what about the people who love Pep Guardiola and think Pep Guardiola is the greatest manager they've ever worked under? What about the Liverpool players who are actually winning stuff now, and they think Klopp is the best manager? So I think the whole Wayne Rooney saying is the best manager is kind of, for me, again, another silly argument. But the part that interests me is the fact that he thought that Van Gaal shouldn't have been fired. And that's interesting to me, because, like, I still think a few managers, I don't know about Moyes, and I don't want to open that can of worms because people get touchy on Moyes. But with Van Gaal specifically, I will stand up for Van Gaal and say, yeah, I think we should have seen out the project. Not because I liked Van Gaal's football, not because I think Van Gaal was the best coach in the world, no. But because I think Manchester United have had a problem over the last few years of prematurely sacking managers or prematurely hiring managers based off short-termism. And I think long-term, Van Gaal was building something. Whether you think that something was pretty and attractive, I don't know. But the man made top 4, and the man won an FA Cup. So, like, you know, for me, that was a good enough foundation to build on. And I'm not saying I would have been happy for that for the next 10 years. But if he built on it and he improved, I think I would have been down with that project. And the only way we would have seen that is if he stayed as manager. And I think we just sacked him prematurely. So what do you think?
Well, when Van Gaal came in at the time, I hated it. I didn't like Van Gaal. And all I remember for Van Gaal, the only things I ever remember is me sitting at home, watching my team pass the ball for 90 minutes around the box and doing nothing with it. And I wanted to shoot myself. And I just have bad memories of Van Gaal. So, you know, I'm not denying he's a good coach or anything, but I couldn't give a fuck. Honestly, when he got sacked, I was like, thank you, goodbye, good riddance. Thanks for ruining 19 minutes every week of my life.
Hey, boy, you need some therapy there, boy.
I hate Van
Gaal. Whoa.
I can sign you up.
Okay, look, if you'd asked me around the time, it was definitely get him out. Because I don't think I knew how deep the issue is at Manchester United. I just thought Van Gaal was a bad coach and it's his fault. And the issues and structure and all of that, I did not know. Only further I started realizing under Mourinho because he made them public.
Yeah.
But if you ask me now, and Mourinho was available, so you know that kind of added to it. But if you ask me now, I do think we did sack him prematurely. I have to agree with Rooney there. And because I feel like we're moving in a direction and you could see the football improving. And I remember when it started. It was against Chelsea in December when there was the whole rumors about Van Gaal and he's going to get fired. And in that game, something was different in the way we played. Like, it was just a bit more expansive. And you could see us moving in the right direction. Yes, we didn't make top 4. And I think maybe that was the telling blow. But you could see us moving in a direction. And I think Van Gaal himself hindered himself because I feel like he's stubborn. He took too long to loosen the shackles. I compare him to Pep. With Van Gaal, it was like, I'm bringing this playing style, this tiki-taka playing style from Spain, and I'm going to play it, and it's going to work, and I don't care what anyone says. With Pep, he tried it for one season, and said, it doesn't really work like this, so I have to add a little pace, and Van Gaal took too long to do that. But I feel like they're very similar coaches. I mean, it's the same style. So I think there was a lot of potential there, and I think we could have given him another year at least.
And here's the thing about the Van Gaal argument. Whenever you sound like you're defending Van Gaal, people will automatically go towards the football, right?
Yeah.
And I understand the football was not pretty, right? But I have a question for all of you guys who don't like Van Gaal, and Shoni, you can answer this if you want to. If Mourinho was not available that summer, do you think Manchester United would have sacked him? My answer is no. Why? Because our board's immature. They did the same thing with Poch. Oh, Poch is free. Let's think about sacking Oli. If Poch wasn't there, would we be talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer getting sacked? Probably not.
Yeah. The only reason they sacked Van Gaal, though, is because, Mourinho was available and, us fans were just dying.
I think the Mourinho thing made it worse, but I think the telling blow was top 4 because the whole story of that season was, can he make top 4? And when
I'm not denying that.
Even when he won the FA, it seemed like he was just done.
I'm not denying that. I'm not saying the Manchester United board they're that stupid. Like, oh, Mourinho's available. Let's sack this manager whom we pay his wages and he's blown our money for the last few seasons. Let's just sack him and get this guy that we like. I know it's not that simple, but you cannot tell me that Manchester United had a grand plan from the beginning of that season to say, look, if this guy does not make top four, this is who we're going to try to get. I don't believe that. I think, look, they were always going to think about sacking Van Gaal, as you do when you appoint a manager. If you appoint a CEO of a company or anyone in a leadership position and they start to show signs of frailty, you start to see things that cause doubt and they just don't deliver and the company's struggling, you're going to consider sacking them. But the problem I have with Manchester United is not that they sacked Van Gaal, it's the timing of when they sacked Van Gaal and how they did it and who replaced him. Because you, man, complain about the football. Oh, I'm sorry. Was Mourinho's football that much more attractive than the sideways passing? Did I miss something?
For me, yes.
Was Park the Bus
yes.
more entertaining? What?
Look, I think
that just makes no sense to me.
A big problem here is who's sacking Van Gaal. I feel like us not having a technical director is a huge problem.
Yes,
because
director, top right, there is.
We'll say, what's the situation? Are we moving forward? Can we afford another season? We don't have that. What Manchester United have is the fans breathing down their neck saying we don't want this manager anymore, and Mourinho being there, and obviously murmurs are going to start. So it just seemed to make sense to the board. A board that just really doesn't understand.
It's short-termism. It happens with everything that Manchester United do, not just Van Gaal. And I've said this so many times on the podcast that I might start sounding like a broken record player for those of you who listen to our shows most of the time. But honestly, it's not just with Van Gaal, because I can extend this argument to a lot of things. I can extend it to buying Zlatan when he's in his late 30s. You're supposed to be rebuilding. You're buying a 34-year-old who, by the way, did score 20 goals or whatever it was in that season, but the football was crap because he couldn't run to save his life, and we were forced to play a certain playing style under him. And then when he got injured and done his knee in, we had to sell him. So, like, what was the point of getting him in the first place if he wasn't going to be a part of a long-term plan? We bought an ex-World Cup winner who did not even touch a blade of grass long enough to make an impact, and then just left. He came to Old Trafford with grey hairs, and then we don't know what he looked like when he left because we didn't see him when he left. Or I didn't, at least. And then Di Maria, star from Real Madrid, left quicker than he came. Bottled it, didn't he? You know, Falcao. And yes, I get it. Sometimes you buy a big player and they don't perform well at a team. Cool. So I'll give Falcao that excuse. He had an injury. He came to United at the wrong time. His rehabilitation didn't go as smooth as he would have liked. And he was actually lucky to continue playing football after the injury he got, because most strikers don't recover from that. And then he went to Monaco and he started playing well, but he was never the same Falcao regardless. Cool. Yeah. I'll let Falcao slide, because at least Falcao had some pedigree when he came to Old Trafford. But, I mean, like, I think you guys get the point. There's a lot of players, so we can look away from Van Gaal, but there's a lot of players that have come to Old Trafford. And in hindsight, first of all, the signing didn't make sense. But second of all, even the way they left didn't even make sense. And it just exposes the short term. Like, the blinders that are on the people running our club is bad. It's bad. You'd say these men are professional horse racers, fam, because they got them blinders on and they don't pay any attention to the future whatsoever. They're just looking at what's right in front of them and thinking about finishing the current race. Yeah,
I do think that's changing, and I think that's due to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I have to give him that. I do think you're starting to see a plan at Manchester United, and I do think he's influencing that.
The irony is
that's one of the reasons
that might be true, but the irony is he got hired after a 3-month period. The irony is this guy got hired because he did well for 3 months. It's so ironic, but no, I agree. There does seem to be a direction, but I'm not convinced that our board has changed their colours just because there's a direction. I think people will latch on to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's vision just because it's positive, right? People didn't like Van Gaal's football, therefore they will not agree that there was something that Van Gaal was building, even though he was. Regardless of whether it was positive or not, there was some sort of improvement, right? Under Mourinho, I'm not so sure there was a long-term plan there, because he lost the dressing room, so I don't know what to say about Mourinho. But with Oli, I think because he puts a positive spin on everything, he's able to win the fans over, and that's a good quality to have as a manager. You know, everything Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says, it's like, yeah, he's building about something. You know, he's building towards something, and it helps when your new signings performing well.
Yeah, I feel like it could be a little more than that, to be honest. I feel like he's taken a little bit more responsibility than the other managers have. I feel like he's acting as a manager and one could say a technical director. I feel like a lot of it goes through him. He helps Woodward in terms of the outlook of the club and where we're going a lot. And I feel like 100%. The other managers weren't really doing that. It was more like, I'm here, I'm doing my job, give me my players, and can we get moving? And I feel like 100%. He's doing this because he loves the club. So
because a common theme under Van Gaal and Mourinho was, oh, they're not giving me the players I want. Oh, I can't play my playing style because I don't have the players I want. And the whole, like Ritter, you know me, the whole time under Mourinho and Van Gaal, what was I saying? Just adapt, bruh. You don't have your players. We get it. Just adapt, dog. Make a plan. And that's what I like about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Lingard, Pereira, doesn't matter who's playing in the 10, there's a plan. It might not be a pretty plan. It might not be an effective plan. But somehow we walked out of the Etihad with 3 points. So the plan worked. You know, like, and that pissed me off under Mourinho and Van Gaal. They were so stubborn and set in their ways that it was like, okay, mate, we get it. There's a terrible board. We get it. Cool, we get it. You don't have the right players. But are you going to keep whining about not having the right players? Or are you just going to try to do the best you can with what you have? And it's refreshing to have a manager who does that. So 100%, I agree with what you're saying. And that's very refreshing. Yeah. And I just hope whoever comes after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, regardless of how well he does the same thing. Because I cannot listen to another negative series of press conferences where someone's just complaining about not having the right players. Oh, I don't have this player. Oh, they're not giving me what I want. Oh, they're this and that. Oh, you know, it got annoying. What made it worse for Van Gaal is, you know, he couldn't even speak English properly, so it was just terrible to listen to either way.
Man doesn't even stand in games. That was so annoying.
Oh, okay, dog, we get it. You old school, dog. You gangster, dog. Like, I come 3 seconds late for training. I can't train with the team. You send me home to go take a shower. Cool. I respect it. But times have changed, Chief. You know, times have changed, you know. Come on. They're like, whenever a manager does things like that and has that level of extremism to the point where they don't stand in games, it doesn't help when the results don't reflect that, because it's like, mate, what are you doing? You know? What are you doing? And that's what I felt under Mourinho. I had so much respect for Mourinho when he came to Old Trafford, but halfway through Mourinho being here, I was like, I'm starting to be convinced that you don't need to be an asshole to win trophies, because this guy's an asshole and he's not doing anything, and I want him out of my club. It's getting annoying, and I think that's one of the positives from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's just refreshing to have a nice guy in the job. It's refreshing to have someone who says positive things in press conferences. Not just about the future, but just in general about everything. It's refreshing. It's nice. He just has to back it up now with the football. But yeah, I think this conversation has diverged into a little personal rant, and I apologize for that if you did not find that entertaining. Please do leave a like on the video. Do consider subscribing if you want more content like this. We make these kinds of videos every week, and when the pandemic is over and football comes back, we'll be doing match previews, match reactions, and we'll be talking about all things to do with football and releasing things every other day. So yeah, please do consider sharing the content and sticking around. I hope you enjoyed this little rant about Van Gaal and his negative football. And yeah, stay safe. And anything left you guys want to say?
Nah, I'll save it for next week's show.
All right. 1 hour. New world record. I'm kidding.